Good morning. Mr. Gioia is not able to make it because he's in Washington, D.C. at an alumni event, but he wanted to send a video to start this ceremony, so please stand by for this video.
Good morning and welcome to our ninth grade and their parents to this ninth grade patch ceremony. We are very pleased to have these rituals that emphasize the journey that you're going through at MBA. This particular journey marks your 4 years in high school and the beginning of that period. And we hope it is a great journey for you and your families, and one that lasts much longer than 4 years, but obviously your entire lifetime in terms of what you learn, what you experience here, and the friendships that you gain through MBA. There are some specific things that I wanted to say about these 4 years. First, as you well know, it certainly is the beginning of the record, the transcript, the experience that colleges look at. But I hope it's much more than just that. I hope it is a way in which you grow as a person and find those experiences and the kind of involvement that will make a difference for you personally. There are many great opportunities at MBA, opportunities that exist on this campus every day, to wonderful programs like our Wilson grants and our exchanges. And I hope you will take advantage of those opportunities and find ways in which you genuinely will build a greater career for yourself here and make a difference for others and the community. I remind you that it's okay to make mistakes, but it's more important once you've made those mistakes to learn from them and to find ways to grow. And I hope that what you do these next 4 years suggests that you will have high ideals, great aspirations, and a tremendous sense of commitment in terms of who you are as a person and as a student. And most of all, I hope that you work on your own interior strengths and resources and find ways to be the kind of person that you would admire and that will make a difference for you and others and for communities like Nashville and around the world. Secondly, I wanted to introduce our speaker, our student speaker this morning, Jackson Meredith. I'm very happy to introduce Jackson on a number of levels, but most particularly because he reminds me of the kind of person who has found a creative way to master his sense of his own destiny and to find ways in which he could convert experience into the kind of positive channeling and involvement that has made a tremendous difference for him. As you will hear, Jackson's story is one of great indirection or direction. He thought he might be on one particular course of involvement and found another. And I know Jackson will give you some great advice, and I am very proud to introduce him and for him to suggest to you the kind of journey and experience you should have at MBA. I wish all of you a great breakfast and morning.
Thank you, Mr. Gioia. As he said, I'm Jackson Meredith. I'm a senior here at MBA and a proud member of the class of 2017. Some of you may know me, but odds are a lot of you don't. So I would like to genuinely welcome each and every one of you to high school and hope that your transition over the past few weeks has been very smooth. My goal here today is to expand on what Mr. Gioia was just talking about and tell you all a little bit about my experience here and share some things that I've learned that I hope will help you on your journey into the depths of high school. So my time on the Hill has been one of vast change and personal growth. It is fair to say that the person I was walking into the first day of ninth grade is very different than who I am today. It's actually scary to think that just a few years ago I was sitting right where you were today, listening to some senior talk about advice that I hadn't even given thought to yet. I remember specifically receiving my patch and thinking that, hey, this means something. I'm going to be wearing this on my last day as a student. It may have been the first time that I realized that this journey at MBA, which can seem really long sometimes, will actually eventually end. At that point, though, it seemed light years away. But looking back, it seems like just yesterday. When I entered the 9th grade, I had a picture in my mind of who I thought I wanted to be. I saw myself as a football player, as sort of a class clown, a funny guy, someone who hung out with a certain group of people. I worked really hard for these goals, but they never seemed to fit. It became exhausting spending every day being somebody I was not comfortable with. Simply, I was not being true to myself. I just remember it was a confusing time, but looking back, it was like that for a lot of people too. At some point, I began falling back on things that came naturally to me. I'd always loved music and enjoyed performing. Thankfully, MBA has this incredible music program which allowed me to find a passion in it, and I started getting more involved with that. I realized I could really contribute in that area of the school. I joined the chamber choir in 9th grade and now find myself in the Headmaster Singers. It's a great group of guys that I enjoy seeing every single day. I enjoy being myself around them, and now I can't imagine my day at MBA without it. I believe that many of my friends would say the same thing about debate or soccer or theater or anything that they do and love that comes naturally to them. I also spent way too much time thinking about my life in early high school. But somewhere over the past few years, I discovered a passion for helping, talking, and listening to others. It is funny how that has brought so much fulfillment to me too. It is another element of my journey, and I began taking advantage of resources in Nashville by volunteering at a counseling program every week after school and bringing a peer mentorship program to the Hill this year, along with 2 seniors of mine, called the Big Red Block. I gave an announcement in Assembly the other day about it. This is all something that, as a new freshman, I would have never imagined myself doing. But it has become an important part of who I am and the legacy I hope to leave here at MBA. I've discovered, and I hope that you do too, that there's freedom in being yourself. I will be gone when it comes time for you all to wear these patches across the graduation stage. But I have a hope for each and every one of you and for your class as a whole. Individually, be sure to find what makes you, you. Don't hesitate to stray from the picture you have in your head right now of who you think you need to be. And if you find yourself floundering over the next few years, that's okay. But just try and fall back on something that comes naturally to you, something that you enjoy doing. Try and be yourself. And be open to new possibilities for yourself. Also, support your friends when they do the same. The best classes are made up of guys with diverse interests and talents, but who support each other in their differences. I hope that you embrace this goal as a class sooner rather than later. High school, like life, is not a cakewalk. It will be a journey of ups and downs, trust me. The truth is, though, these next few years can be some of the greatest in your life. You will make great friends and be given opportunities, like Mr. Gioia said, like nowhere else in the world. You will be stronger through your experience in MBA, and I hope that you take advantage of every opportunity here because they're there for you if you just go looking for them. I wish each and every one of you the best in high school. Thank you so much for letting me talk to you today, and congrats.
Thank you, Jackson, for your thoughts. You speak to the heart of the ceremony by calling the class to understand who you are and encouraging them to embrace each other. We appreciate your words. We're now going to watch a clip from To Kill a Mockingbird. In this clip, Atticus gives Scout advice on how to appreciate the perspective of others.
Scout Now, what in the world has got into you? No.
Atticus, I'm not going back to school anymore.
Now, Scout, it's just the first day.
I don't care. Everything went wrong. The teacher got mad as a devil at me and said you were teaching me to read all wrong and to stop it. And then acted like a fool and tried to give Walter Cunningham a quarter when everybody knows Cunninghams won't take nothing from nobody. Any fool could have told her that.
Well, maybe she's just nervous. After all, it's her first day, too, teaching school and being new here.
Oh, Atticus.
Now, wait a minute. You just learned a single trick, Scout. You get along a lot better with all kinds of folks. You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view.
Sir?
Till you climb inside of his skin, walk around in it.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to have the chance to introduce Mr. Barclay to you today, not only because he's the kind of person who is worth listening to in general, but also because he's the ideal person to be listening to at this ceremony in particular. And also when your own personal athletic high point was playing number 5 tennis singles at college and the person sitting behind you played offensive line, you need to say that you're pleased to be introducing him. But no one I know better embodies the ideals and virtues we want the MBA patch to represent than Mr. Barclay. And no one I know is a better role model for the kind of gentleman, scholar, and athlete we hope all of you will be in turn. As an athlete, he excelled as a lineman during his high school and college career and now brings that knowledge and enthusiasm to our varsity program. As a scholar, he not only loves his subject, physics, but also loves instilling an appreciation of it in others. And most importantly, as a gentleman, you will not find anyone more thoughtful, compassionate, tough, or dedicated than Mr. Barclay. Now, many of you in the 9th grade here likely have not met him yet, but when you do, you will notice that he's always willing to help. He is always there for people. Whether a student asks for advice on the football field, or some assistance with a physics problem, or needs someone to play a member of the Jedi Council in the school musical, Mr. Barclay will be there. And in every instance, the force is strong with him. I hope, therefore, you will listen closely to what he has to say to us and join me in welcoming him here this morning.
Thank you, Dr. Boyd. That was really nice. Appreciate that. Good morning. Like Dr. Boyd said, my name is Travis Barclay. I am a high school physics teacher and football coach here at Montgomery Bell Academy. I'm actually currently the science department chair as well here, and just started my 12th year here at MBA. I'm really glad that everybody's here this morning. I'm glad that both you guys and your families decided to come to MBA and be a part of this community this year. This is a great place with many incredible opportunities. I would like to talk to you this morning about the idea of foundation and what it means to lay the correct foundation. David Brooks, a writer for the New York Times and a teacher at Yale, wrote an article titled "Making Modern Toughness." In it, he makes some great points about foundation. In this article, he writes, "When I ask veteran college teachers and administrators to describe how college students have changed over the years, I often get an answer like this: today's students are more accomplished than past generations, but they also are more emotionally fragile." He goes on to state that we are all fragile when we don't know what our purpose is, when we haven't thrown ourselves with abandon into a social role, when we haven't committed ourselves to a certain people, when we feel like a swimmer in an ocean without an edge. If you really want people to be tough, make them idealistic for some cause. Make them tender for some other person. Make them committed to some worldview that puts temporary pain in the context of a larger hope. What Mr. Brooks is talking about here is that humans need to focus on making sure that our foundation is properly set. We need to make sure that we are building on something that is tried and true. Think of this. Have you ever seen a building being constructed from the very beginning? It seems like it takes forever to really see any progress from the time they break ground until the time you really see anything being built. I have a buddy that I go to church with who is in construction, and he says the foundation is the hardest thing to pass inspection. Everyone in construction realizes that it is the foundation that is crucial to the integrity of the entire building. It may seem like a simple part of the overall construction process, but getting the foundation right is incredibly important. The biggest reason for this is that any mistakes you make in the foundation will only get worse as you go up. It's known as compounding defects, and it means that mistakes will grow. My foundation was first tested when I was relatively young. You see, I was born in Iowa City, Iowa. Soon after that, my family moved to Virginia. We were there until I was about 5 years old. We then moved to Indianapolis, Indiana, and we lived with my grandparents for a year. That's when I started kindergarten. After my kindergarten year, we moved to Memphis, Tennessee, where I started first grade. I went to Evangelical Christian School, ECS. But then in second grade, I changed schools and went to a public school in Memphis. In third grade, I was in Louisville, Kentucky. The next year, found myself back in Indianapolis going to Heritage Christian School. While attending there, my family moved to a new town, but I was still close enough to still go to school there for 3 years. When it was time to move on to the seventh grade, I actually went up to my parents and asked if I can go to a different school because the current school I was at did not offer football, and I wanted to continue to play. So I went to a new school in seventh grade. I was in a new building, seventh and eighth grade. Then it was off to high school, new building. After my freshman year, I really started to feel like I was establishing some roots. I was making some good friends and doing things that I loved. After football season ended my sophomore year, my parents approached me and said that we'd be moving. We moved 2 months into the second semester of my sophomore year. It was tough. Actually, I was the only one to move with my dad. My middle brother stayed with my mom the entire time. My youngest brother was the smartest of us all. He was somehow able to make a 2-week spring break out of the whole thing. Anyways, like I said, it was tough on me. I was leaving my friends. I was leaving my comfort zone. Once I started to feel like I belonged at a certain location, we moved. During all my moves, I learned to adapt. I learned to be friendly. I learned that sometimes you leave comfortable situations and embark on new adventures that you don't know what lies ahead. What's kind of cool is my parents didn't move on purpose to teach me these things. It was just a consequence of what I was experiencing. All along, it was shaping and molding me into the person I am today. I was building my foundation. I mentioned at the beginning that I'm a football coach, like Dr. Boyd also said. The reason I have such a great passion for football is that it's an opportunity in the scope of a game to teach about life and to work on building a great foundation. In fact, I love a lot of team sports. It's pretty cool that it can teach something about camaraderie and family during the season. You're responsible to do your job, but at the same time, you depend on everybody else to do theirs. To be a really good team, everyone must buy into the same vision. The members of the team must step outside of themselves in order to reach a common goal. It's much bigger than just one person. Just like in life, in football, you will face adversity. From fumbles, to weather, to good and sometimes better opponents, to unexpected injuries, to unpredictable calls, there'll be times in which there are things that happen that are outside of your control. Why do coaches spend so much time on the fundamentals, on the basics? Coaches understand the importance of a solid foundation. We know that in a tough situation when adversity is at its worst, it's the fundamentals and the foundation that will carry you through. You can always fall back on the foundation to get beyond the adversity. It's your foundation in life that is going to get you through the hard times. You're going to face adversity. You're going to go through a storm. It is inevitable. To deny this would be crazy. Failure will happen. How are you going to respond? What will carry you through it? There are many great things that will help you get through the tough times. For me, it's been several things, but I want to concentrate on the two most important. First, it's my personal faith in my Lord Jesus Christ. I find my identity in the fact that he created me and loves me unconditionally. The world around me doesn't define who I am. Another thing that has helped carry me through the tough times is the relationships that I've forged. This has been my immediate family. Through all of my moves as a young child, my family was the constant. My two younger brothers were always there with me. Also, I have many friends that I consider my family because of the genuine relationships that we have. My foundation is most securely built on these relationships. Another example of when my foundation and identity was challenged was later on in high school. I was a really good football player in high school. I mean, really good. I received many letters and phone calls from college coaches. I even earned 2 awards in high school the summer going into my senior year from the University of Illinois as well as Purdue University when I attended their lineman camps. I thought I was going to go somewhere really big. When it came time for scholarships to be handed out, I didn't get one. I was shocked. I was in dismay. I didn't understand why. At first, I was bitter. I wanted to blame someone or something. Then I started to doubt. Maybe I'm not very good. Maybe I can't play at the next level. I soon realized that this was an opportunity to work even harder, to push myself even more, to learn patience, to understand that sometimes in life, things will just not be handed to me. I'm not entitled. I decided to walk on in college at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana. After 1 year of going to school, doing everything I could in the weight room, on the field, and in the classroom, after only 1 year, I was awarded a full scholarship to play football at BSU, and I ended up starting 35 games on the offensive line. What a cool story to share that I was able to walk on and earn a scholarship to play football. Isn't this where a lot of cool stories start? Someone is down and out, someone has failed, and yet they rise up, they bounce back, they show determination when it looks bleak. My advice to you guys is to lay a good foundation. Take time and be mindful of what you do to establish this foundation. It's hard to lay a good foundation. It's easy to go with the flow. It's easy to take shortcuts. Don't do it. This year's theme of empathy works really well in the context of foundation. It helps us to appreciate the foundations of others as well as help to encourage others when their foundations might be shaken. Slow down. We live in a society of hurry. Hurry takes away from laying the correct foundation. Being in a constant state of hurry usually means cutting corners, and that will catch up with you sooner or later. Also, we want to get good fast. I would love to practice the guitar one time and be a master of it. I also would love to walk in the weight room, bench just once, and be incredibly strong. I can't just bench one time and get strong. That doesn't work that way. I can't lift all the time. There must be a time that I have to build. There must be a time for rest. But when I do lift, it takes time. It takes failure. It's a constant breakdown of my muscles, and then, like I said, the rebuild of them. I must have time to repair the damage that I do while I lift. But I know that when I come back the next time, I'm stronger for all of this. This analogy is like a lot of things that we want to get better at in life. It takes patience, determination, hard work, failure, bumps in the road, adversity and pain to get truly good at something. I know that you will grow and mature during your time on the hill. Don't be in a hurry. Take your time to appreciate the community as well as add to the community in a positive way. Human beings are drawn to people who put others in front of themselves. Serving is a great way to lead, as well as establishing the foundation of service. Be giving of yourself both to you, both to others, and the community around you. If you do this sincerely, the foundation of community, along with your relationships, will just get deeper and more genuine. I encourage you to work on laying a lasting foundation while on the hill. This foundation will carry you through whatever adversity you will face. Congratulations on receiving your patch today, and welcome to the high school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barkley, for your words of encouragement and for your perspective. We appreciate the balance of excellence that you have in the classroom and on the athletic field. This class will be defined by the principles discussed this morning. How well you care for each other, whether you're inclusive or exclusive, whether you spend most of your time pursuing interests that benefit yourself or benefit or contribute to a greater good, a greater whole. And we believe in you guys and hope that you will aspire to appreciate the goodness in each of your classmates and pursue excellence in your areas of interest with humility and with empathy. The ninth grade year is important. It's a beginning to the season of your life where a lot of your foundation will be built. And this patch ceremony is meant to commemorate this beginning of your journey in high school. The patch that you will receive in a moment is meant to embody the values and the ideals of the school. We hope that you will wear it with pride. If you will please take out your letter and read the charge that you received this morning when you walked in. At MBA, the ninth grade represents a meaningful step forward in the development of young men. The administration and faculty entrust the students with greater freedom and responsibility. As you attain more freedoms and your responsibility increases, you are expected to be self-motivated young men of commitment, discipline, empathy, humility, and service to peers and community, building toward a future leadership role in one or more areas of school-wide community life. The wearing of this patch symbolizes this transition, which will culminate with its proud display at your graduation from Montgomery Bell Academy. The MBA patch embodies the honor, respect, leadership, self-discipline, and citizenship that you will develop through your relationships with faculty, coaches, mentors, and one another through your experiences in and beyond the classroom at MBA. Please honor and strive to take personal ownership over these ideals. They are the primary legacy built through 150 years of the gentleman, scholar, athlete tradition at MBA. We hope that you will wear this patch with pride at coat and tie occasions until you walk across the graduation stage to receive the MBA diploma. We are excited for you to embark on this next part of your MBA journey. Welcome to the high school. Thank you to the orchestra for playing as the patches are being handed out. Their piece led by Mr. Meredith is Don Kizo by Telemann. And the senior elected officers behind me and some of the senior brothers who have younger brothers in this class are now going to line up to present the patches, and I will call the ninth graders by rows. for taking pictures, and we're going to post those on Big Red Photos as soon as we can. Also, thanks to Mr. McMahon and Mr. Sharble and Mr. Rainey and Mrs. Power for helping to pull all this together. It's great to be with you all this morning and to think about the beginnings of high school. Thank you for being here, and have a good rest of the day.